The 70 class card has been this legendary position where it's like good value, you can play a lot of good games on it, gives you things like the RTX 3070 was a really good value because it offered 2080 Ti performance that was $1,200 when it brought that price down to freaking $500. Yeah, it did kind of have VRAM problems and stuff, but the 3070 was still a very, very good GPU. I know tons of people were very excited about it a little over 4 years ago now. And when NVIDIA announced the 5070 Ti just last month at CES 2025 did look pretty exciting too, because the previous generation 4070 Ti was pretty disappointing and it was $800. People were not really excited about that card, but then this new one is coming in at $750. It's $50 below that price point, so that was the initial thing. Now when you break down the specs, it didn't look as crazy because the 5070 Ti really in CUDA core count right here, as you can see, really isn't that much more than the other cards. Like it is 17% more than the 4070 Ti, but if you compare it to the 4070 Ti Super, which came out about a year ago now, then it is only 6% more than that GPU. So those kind of things didn't line up as much. And when you compare their performance, at least what NVIDIA has already listed on their website, then it's only about 20% faster than the 4070 Ti, but now we know more. And now we know that the 50 series has been an absolute shit show. Nothing's in stock, everything's overpriced. It's kind of disgusting how everything's lining up. And this has kind of been brought to my attention from Jay's 2 cents. He just made a video actually almost breaking the embargo on it. And this is the same thing with me. Like, I have the 5070 Ti. In fact, I want to explain how my situation is going to be here, and that's the reason I'm making this video, because I'm not going to be able to post one on the embargo that's tomorrow because I didn't get it until Monday, which was just yesterday, and I didn't get it until late in the day because this has been an absolute mess behind the scenes for literally everybody. Like, it's just so stupid how these launches have been, and yeah, I have it. I haven't even been able to test it yet, and I also have some personal stuff that's going to get in the way. So I'm just letting you guys know I'm not making the embargo. There's just absolutely no way I'm going to get enough testing in for that. Jay brought to my attention, these cards, they're not going to be anything different than the rest of what the 50 series been. 5090's been out of stock, overpriced and everything. You see here on the Gamers Nexus recently video, there's only 3 of the 5090s of all the models that are available, only 3 of them costs the MSRP at $2,000. It is just disgusting. Those ones aren't in stock. Like, you're not really going to be buying those at all. It's absolutely stupid, okay? The 5070 Ti isn't going to be any different because we've already seen retailers like Best Buy here. I don't even think this is Best Buy's fault. I don't know who exactly is to blame here. Is this NVIDIA? Is this the board partners? I don't know. You see that if you look at the 5070 Ti, you can now see it. This is a lie because this is $900. It's like, bro, I don't care. Here's the 5070 Ti box. I'm not showing you the actual card, but this is the box. This is a card that we are getting. And just like how Jay said in his video,
they sent this card because it's MSRP, a $750 card.
This was supposed to be an MSRP graphics card. And that's so that we can show you guys what they cost, what you're gonna get at the actual price point. But right here, at retailers, you can clearly see that is not going for MSRP. It's not going for $750, going for $900. That's a 20% increase on price on a card that is supposed to be MSRP, okay? And if you scroll down here on the rest of Best Buy, all right, it's not any different. Now here the 5070 is also being listed for $550. That's launching on March 5th. But right here, the freaking 5070 Ti, $1,000. $1,000. Here's another prime version of the Asus card that I have in that box there, $940. Another Asus card, $980. If we go to another site like Micro Center, you can also see the cards listed, $980 for a 5070 Ti. Like, you would think that these would be 5080 prices because the 5080 was supposed to be $1,000, but what we've seen is that the 5080, everything's like over $1,200, like at minimum. The 5070 Ti is $970, $980. It is just, it's stupid, guys. If you see my recent video I uploaded yesterday, I actually had that all edited and done on Saturday. So it was way done, but I was waiting to see if NVIDIA wanted to refute me on anything. I asked them in emails and they didn't send me an email. I basically just like, screw it, I'm gonna post the video. But what NVIDIA is saying is that these are in high demand. You know, these are high demand cards and everybody's buying them. We can't make enough of them. When you look at the supply and you're like, oh, okay, so you guys can't make enough of them. That's why you didn't send any stores some 5090s, and they're just in high demand, right? Quote unquote, high demand. I mean, yeah, that's the 5090. We would hope that the 5070 Ti would get more, maybe, hopefully even more stock than the 5080, but who even knows at this point? They're already being listed for well over MSRP. That MSRP is a bold-faced lie pretty much. NVIDIA at the end of the day does approve of this stuff. They allow the AIB partners to make these decisions and sell them at these prices. They might not actually tell them to, but they're not stopping them. What's crazy is this dude already has a 5070 Ti. Not a reviewer or anything, he's just on Reddit. How he got this is because retailers seem like they're so fed up and there's so much like the low supply and everything that what he did was just call a retailer and ask them, hey, do you guys have any of these? And the freaking retailer just sent it to him. He didn't disclose what retailer this is, probably not to rat them out or anything. He just bought it. And he just has it because retailers are fed up. Like that's why I don't think that these prices are the retailer's fault. I don't think it's them marking up. I don't think retailers, like they have to be competitive with other retailers. They're in check with other retailers like Amazon, Newegg, Best Buy. They have to compete with them. They don't push their prices up this high on purpose. I doubt it. This is probably what they're having to buy the cards for and around the minimum price in order to make profits. And at the end of the day, this hurts the retailer the most because there's very low stock and they have to keep their margins low. So at the end of the day, the retailer's making less money than what they would be typically if it was like a normal launch with a lot of supply and stuff. There's no way they're happy about this. Now we can also check out the performance. Now in Jay's video, he said he didn't actually breach any of the performance.
I'm going to tell you right now without going into details because I'm really tiptoeing the line here on embargo stuff. The 5070 Ti performance it's in there with the 4080 Super range. Okay, it's a very strong card.
Relatively close to the 4080 Super from the last generation, which honestly would maybe make some sense. Okay, so if we bring up the spec chart here, here's the 5070 Ti versus the 4070 Ti Super. Now we can relate these cards. It has 6% more CUDA cores than the older card. The newer CUDA cores really don't have that much more like per CUDA core, it's not that much faster than the previous generation. It's basically like you proportionally put more CUDA cores on them and that's how much faster it goes. But I think the memory bandwidth might help a little bit more here. So the 4070 Ti Super had 672 gigabytes per second of memory bandwidth, and now we're jumping up to almost 900 gigabytes per second. It's both 16 gigabytes, so I think it might end up being about 10% faster than the 4070 Ti Super. And that's kind of, from the estimated numbers that I've seen from NVIDIA's website and stuff, I would expect about 9% faster. So now we can compare that to what I've tested the 4070 Ti Super to be, and we compare that against the 4080 Super. And most of the time, the 4080 Super is about 10 to 20% faster than the 4070 Ti Super. Now, if we do look at the specs of these cards, here's the 4080 Super here versus the 5070 Ti, and also the 5080 for reference. The 4080 was $1,200. Technically, on paper, that looks like a good deal, okay? But when you actually look at, you know, the 4080 Super is the newer card, and that was $1,000. It just brought down the price of the 4080 mid-generation. So the 5070 Ti, if we compare CUDA core count, it has like 10-11% more on the 4080, and it has like 1,200 more CUDA cores on the 4080 Super. So it's a good chunk more there. Now the memory bandwidth being at 896 gigabytes per second versus 736 gigabytes per second on the 4080 Super, I think could make a lot of sense where it could end up beating those cards a little bit, especially because these are like 4K graphics cards, I would say, and memory bandwidth does play a bigger role as you go up in resolution like that, as you need more data. So I think it's probably reasonable that it could get close to the 4080 Super. Again, I don't think it's gonna be winning most of the time. I think honestly most of the time it's going to be a little bit behind, and I'm not really like telling you facts or anything. I haven't even tested the card. I don't have any numbers on it at the moment. Right now I've just been crammed. So I have the 4070 Ti Super on my test PC at the moment, and I haven't even been able to finish that yet. I did get my hands on a 4070 Ti. That card's okay. I wouldn't really compare. That's what I find annoying, is I wouldn't really compare the 4070 Ti base model to the 5070 Ti. It makes way more sense to compare it to the Super, because spec for spec, they're closer, and that was the last card that it's an upgrade from. Because NVIDIA will compare it to the 4070 Ti, it's going to look really good against that card. So I'm going to clarify a little bit on the mess here, the 5070 Ti. All right, so this guy, I only got this yesterday. I got it late yesterday too. And I wasn't even done testing some other GPUs. I've just not had enough time to do everything. So This card, I barely have anything. I just basically unboxed it. I can't show you guys that kind of stuff as of yet. Now, I'm definitely not going to be making embargo because I have some family stuff going on. That's basically where I'm at with this launch. It's just a mess, and I'm not excited about the 5070 Ti, seeing they're already coming in above MSRP. I don't even know if there will be one, especially considering there is no Founders Edition card for the 5070 Ti. So there's not going to be like one that's always going to be at MSRP. And that performance too, of maybe just being a 4080 Super, it really isn't that exciting either, especially because if these cards are going to cost, you know, this much, almost $1,000 just to get a 5070 Ti, and you could have months ago, a year ago, could have just got a 4080 or a 4080 Super for $1,000, and they're going to be about the same performance, probably even faster a lot of the time. There's literally no point in getting this graphics card. Like, actually, there's that whole advice thing. It's like, oh, you should wait for the next generation when it's close. And I almost feel bad now recommending people just to wait, because there's people in my Discord server that are like, oh, should I get a GPU right now? And that kind of stuff. And that was back in like December, November. And I was like, dude, it's just a few months away. I would just wait for the new generation. But now I'm almost like, you should have just bought one. Because now when we look at the market, and if you want to get the 40 series cards, because the 40 series cards aren't going to be that far off, you can't get a 4070 Ti Super. They're out of stock. NVIDIA's weaned the stock off. It's like $1,200, $1,300. This is ridiculous. Who would buy this at this price point? This GPU is supposed to be $800, and it's just nowhere close to that. And then also, if you want to get a 4080, these cards don't exist. It's $1,700 to get a 4080. That is stupid. A 5080, is this even available? A 5080 is $2,000. The prices are ridiculous. Like, the prices that NVIDIA is showing on the MSRPs just aren't real. They're going for way more than that kind of stuff. I almost feel bad now recommending people to wait. I mean, I couldn't see what was coming, but I didn't think it'd be this bad. And hopefully you're not in this situation where like you didn't get one and now you're screwed. The 4070 Ti Super is not really available on the used market. It's like $1,200. Like, these are getting scalped as well. Every GPU seems like they're getting scalped. I don't even know what you would get in order to, you know, replace these GPUs. There's nothing available. You could check maybe a 4080. These are going to be that great either. Yeah, these are going for like about the same price, actually, around $1,000. If you were to looking at an $800 GPU plus, there's literally no good option right now. They're all overpriced, scalped, out of stock. It's just terrible. And the 5070 Ti is not breaking this trend. And I think that's that real tell. I was making this prediction a little while back where I was like, well, the 5080 and 5090 have been out of stock, but it really is going to be a tell with like the 5070 Ti and the 5070. If these are out of stock as well, then this will show NVIDIA's real true colors, if they even care about supplying these GPUs at a reasonable price. And I think, you know, just seeing these ones here at these crazy retail prices on day one, that's what these are going to cost. NVIDIA does not give a fuck. The partners don't give a fuck. They're just going to make as much money as possible. Now, there's arguments that this could be because of tariffs. There's arguments it could be because there is actual low supply. And NVIDIA is going to say that we're just buying them so much, that's why they're out of stock. And that's a cope, because these cards aren't that exciting. Okay, like, if you're going to be getting a 5070 Ti that might beat a 4080, might beat a 4080 Super, I don't think that's really that crazy, especially after 2 years when those cards sucked at the time too. This is just like one of those videos, and Steve said in his recent video here about the fake prices and the fake frames, you know, there isn't really anything we can do about this. This is just like ranting, getting out there so people know what's going on and can at least talk about it, be informed. But it's a sucky situation. We can't do shit about it. We're hoping basically that AMD will come in and actually have supply available for the GPUs, and their GPUs will be competitive. That's really the only hope for this GPU generation at this point, unless these GPUs do end up coming in stock like in a massive degree. Are you even gonna buy this GPU? I don't recommend it. Don't get scalped, guys. Like, don't waste your money on it. I don't know what to tell you though. If you're really need to upgrade, if it's that time and you're waiting for this, you even waited for this specific generation. Good luck with it, and let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next video. You have a good one. Peace.